Welcome to another episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-host, Drusilla Adeline. How are you doing this week, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good. I have a little bit of an emotional hangover today because yesterday was my best friend's wedding, and I was the best person, best man, I guess.
Was Rupert Everett
really
there?
Beautiful. Rupert Everett was not there.
Damn it.
Nor was Julia Roberts.
He didn't show up for your best friend's wedding? Lame.
But this was Michael Kennedy's wedding, who was on our Lords of Salem episode. He's my best friend. He's the writer of the film Freaky. And so there was a lot of like horror legends there that I won't name drop, but I did get to see our friend Nay. And I got to meet Annie from Girl Scouts Giallo in person. I love
Annie so much.
I loved her, and her girlfriend is so lovely. I never met her before, and yeah, it was just great. And then Nay was the officiant, and her outfit was done by a designer. It was bespoke, and it was the inspiration was half Moira Rose from the Schitt's Creek finale, half Cenobites from Hellraiser.
Fuck off.
And so it was like this very gigantic white kind of ball gown, and then it had a spiky metal shoulder piece with a tall collar that went around her face, and then like all these hanging chains, and it was just the coolest fucking thing that you could ever imagine. And just a beautiful wedding. I got to read a short poem by Tony Kushner that I cried through, and it was just really lovely. And I'm a divorced gay, and of course I believe in the equality of marriage, but now that we're in danger, truthfully, of losing that, right? It meant a lot to me. It was a reminder of like rights can be taken from us, and they do get taken from us all the time. So yeah, just it was a very emotional night, and today I feel like kind of because I feel like I used all of my emotions yesterday. How are you?
I'm good. I had like a similarly great day yesterday. I was at the book release party of our other mutual friend, Gabriella Herstick, which I only just found out is a mutual friend of ours the day after this. Yeah, sex witch extraordinaire. She's written a book on the magic and the path of the divine erotic called Sacred Sex. And she released the book yesterday and had like a reading and like performance event for it. And it was amazing. And so many of my favorite human beings on this planet were all there for it at El Cid in Silver Lake. And it was truly a really amazing night. And then it ended in like hours and hours of funk dancing in the basement. And I just haven't had an outrageously lovely experience with people like that in a long, long time. And it's like, I'll also like showing up to a bar in Silver Lake where it feels like every goth lesbian that I've ever met is all here at the same time for satanic stripteases and book readings. I really felt like I was finally in an episode of The L Word.
Yeah.
After 6 years in Los Angeles, I finally made it. It was so much fun. Yeah, and today I'm also
cool.
just spent. She's so cool. And I met her twin sister for the first time by being like, wait, did Gabby change costumes? What happened? And then I was like, oh, nope.
Identical twin.
Identical twin, yep.
Gabby was on my old short-lived podcast, which was about witchcraft. So basically, if there's a like well-known witch in LA or New York, I probably know them.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I do love my witches. Have you seen anything cool lately?
Yeah. So a bunch of friends of mine went to go see Elvis on Tuesday.
That doesn't sound cool.
It was great.
Oh, it was?
It was lovely.
Your tone made it sound not cool.
I went, so, backstory here. I've never enjoyed a Baz Luhrmann movie. Cue booze.
Yeah. No, I don't like him either. I kind of like Romeo and Juliet because of nostalgia. I haven't re-seen it, but I loved it in high school.
I don't even like Romeo and Juliet, but I'm fine with like all the style and excess and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love style and excess.
Yeah.
It's just him for some reason.
Well, it's
Moulin
just
Rouge gets under my skin
that play for me. I do not like that play. I really don't like Romeo and Juliet. But yeah, Moulin Rouge gets under my skin. I can't fucking do it, man.
Ugh, I can't stand it.
Great Gatsby was insufferable. I also don't even like Strictly Ballroom.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
I watched Australia recently, like in prep to see Elvis, to be like, maybe I'll like one of his other ones. And I was like, it's good, but it's not stylish enough, because he was trying to like rein it in. And it's also like a white savior narrative, which I really wasn't into. And so, I don't know, friends went to see Elvis, and I was like, listen, this is either gonna be like terrible, and I'm gonna have a great time, or it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna have a great time. There's no way it's gonna fall in between that. And it was kind of both. I've been describing it to other friends since then as like, it reminded me a lot of Valley of the Dolls, and the way that when you're watching Valley of the Dolls and she's doing her Neely O'Hara scream at God, you're like, this is fucking ridiculous, and you're laughing your ass off. But then 2 minutes later, you're weeping over Sharon Tate. It somehow walks that tightrope beautifully, because the first 20 minutes, you're kind of like, what in all fuck is going on? This is unhinged, insane, and a little terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it starts working. And it's Baz Luhrmann's best movie. And it's also one of the better, like, rock biopics of late, because it kind of, like, tosses all of that aside. Because Elvis's life has been done so many times.
Yeah.
It's been parodied, even. I mean, Walk Hard's one of the best movies of the past 20 years. And, yeah, they already did that. And so you don't have to have the whole, like, oh my god, he's writing Jailhouse Rock kind of scene. Whoa, wonder what that's gonna be. It's able to, like, zip through beats of his life really quickly and, like, focus in on little details, while also, like, hinting at other details that are a little bit more sordid that Elvis, like, historians know better about. I went with a friend who, like, is a huge Elvis fanatic and, like, went in an Elvis skirt. And then afterwards it was like, oh my god, I didn't know I was shocked that they included that, and they only hinted at that, but I'm so glad that they did. Yeah, it was, I really loved it. I want to see it again.
That's quite an endorsement. I love Valley of the Dolls, of course. I saw some chatter on Twitter about people who were like, he married his wife when she was 15 and he's a predator. And I understand that, but also being Southern and that being a different time, it's sort of like, that was completely normal.
Yeah.
They also,
they also kind of,
all of our great grandparents and grandparents were married and had kids by like 14, 15, and it was just the way that things were. And so you can wring your hands about it, but it's like sort of useless.
Yeah. I think the movie does a really good job by kind of like eschewing that a little bit, by being like, yeah, I think he meets her when he's serving, and they kind of are like, she's younger than him, and they don't say anything like specific, and it's just like, oh, okay, fine. Right. Because they never do the Raging Bull thing of like, she's 14, don't date her. Right. Which, makes it a little tougher.
I'm from Kentucky. My mom was married and had her first kid by 18. My grandmother was a mother even earlier than that. It was just the normal thing until very recently.
Yeah, it was the style at the time. Not saying it was correct. I'm just saying.
Right.
But then also on Friday, I had the amazing opportunity to catch Jack B. Nimble over at the Los Feliz 3, which is an early 90s New Zealand film starring Alexis Arquette.
Oh, interesting.
It is a wild, bananas, batshit, arty horror movie.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, you really, really, really need to. It was very lovingly restored. This is the first like major release it's gotten in America. It was only available really on bootlegs. And Altered Innocence, who is run by a good friend of mine.
Good stuff.
They just do the best of the best. Anything they put out, I always trust is going to be great. They also have After Blue out right now, which is amazing. But I got to see it with a friend at the Los Feliz 3, and we had no clue what to expect. And even then, it's insane. I mean, there's psychic twins. There's steampunk hypnosis machines. There's a roving like girl gang being inspired for revenge by the ghost of their mother. There's a very Three Women-esque ending. It was amazing.
That sounds good.
The director spoke after, and Rosanna Arquette was just there. She just came to see it.
God.
She'd never seen it before.
Amazing.
And she sat in front of us, and she kept taking photos of the screen whenever Alexis came on the entire time. And I just I lost it. The movie was also really emotionally raw. And I was expecting kind of a campy, wild, weird cult film. And I ended up kind of tearing up a few times during it.
Yeah.
It's wild. The Altered Innocence just put it out on Blu-ray.
I need to get that.
You can get it from Vinegar Syndrome right now. I highly, highly recommend it. It's really overlooked.
I love the Arquettes so much just as a family, but Alexis, carries with her a certain legacy, and, she never had she never had the career that her siblings did for obvious reasons. But yeah, I never heard of that. That sounds so interesting.
It's one of her only lead roles.
People mostly know her from The Wedding Singer or that Children of the Corn sequel and things like that.
Or being in Pulp Fiction for 2 seconds.
She's in Pulp Fiction?
She's the one who shoots at John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson and misses.
I have no recollection.
There's that scene at both at the beginning and at the end where they're in the apartment where they're picking up the briefcase and someone bursts out of the bathroom and shoots them a bunch of times and somehow doesn't hit them. That's Alexis. But she nails an Australian and a New Zealand accent the entire movie.
Yeah, it's a hard accent to do because it's so specific.
It's a very hard accent, and she
Australian
nails it perfectly. It's amazing. I highly, highly recommend Jack B. Nimble.
I've been thinking about the Arquettes because I just listened to the Midnight Mass episode about Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, which is a movie I love very much, starring Patricia Arquette in one of her first lead roles, and she's so wonderful in it, and I was wondering why she isn't thought to be one of the great final girls the way that Nancy Heather Langenkamp is, because she's really good. She's a really good actress, and she's so good in the movie, and I don't know, it just feels like she should be in the pantheon of great final girls and kind of isn't, in the same way that Jamie Lee Curtis is or Heather Langenkamp, or because that's the best Nightmare sequel by a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
And she's amazing in it. And
no, she's amazing. I love the Arquette so much. And Patricia is the one I haven't met so far. Because I meet David when he was Bozo the Clown.
Right. I remember that. She seems like a little bit shy or elusive. She has a Pisces quality about her.
Well,
but I don't know
Rosanna has always been my favorite, my love, and my crush. So
she's great.
Yeah. Seeing her on Friday was amazing. Have you been watching anything spectacular and amazing lately, Josh?
Well, I had a really insane week, but I did get a shit ton of Criterion Blu-rays at the Barnes & Noble sale. So my boyfriend and I watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I hadn't seen in a really long time. But it's a movie that I watched a lot as a kid because I had the VHS in the late 80s, early 90s. And I realized that whenever I watched it so much that when I hear the opening drums of the Go-Go's We Got the Beat, I see the Universal logo in my head.
That's amazing.
That movie. But I was the restoration is really beautiful, and I didn't know that so you see the character Damone's full dick in the movie in the sex scene, which I gasped, and I was talking to my friend Price about it, and he had the same reaction because I'm almost positive that that's not in the VHS.
No, it's not.
I had.
No, it's not.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I have that same edition. There's an interview on the disc, conducted by Olivia Wilde with Amy Heckerling, and oh God, the guy made Almost Famous, who wrote it.
Cameron Crowe.
Cameron Crowe, yeah. God, the prestige of that movie is amazing.
Yeah, that movie rules.
And they were talking about how when they made the movie, they were very insistent that you see the male full frontal and that it be very equitable and even and unashamed. And that when Universal saw it, they were like, nope.
Yeah, of course. It's 1980 or 81.
Yeah, we're cutting around that. And it was never presented on home video ever until Criterion got their hands on it and were doing their restoration, and Amy Heckerling was like, "Can we put the dick back in?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, that's what we do."
It's such a great movie, and the scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh loses her virginity in the baseball dugout is so good because it's so thoughtful, and you can tell it's a woman director because you're seeing the whole scene from her point of view, and she's experiencing, physical pain because she's losing her virginity, but you just see her point of view, which is like she's like looking at the graffiti on the ceiling and trying to move her eyes to different places to like not concentrate on the sex, and it's so good. But I was watching it with my boyfriend who hadn't really seen it before. He saw it, maybe as a little kid. And he hated Jeff Spicoli so much. And my boyfriend is a high school teacher too. So he's like, "Oh no, I'm Mr. Hand." And it just was funny because Jeff Spicoli is like one of the most beloved comedic characters of the 80s.
Yeah.
People did impressions of him for the longest time. But it made me think of this other movie that I wanted to ask you if you've seen. If you haven't, I'll send it to you because you'll love it. It's called The Beaver Trilogy. Do you know about this?
I've heard about this. This was recommended to me when I used to work at a movie theater.
It's so fascinating. And really, it's 3 short films. And the first one is a documentary, an accidental documentary, where this guy bought a VHS camera in like 1978 or something, turns it on. And as soon as he turns it on, he meets this weird teenage boy in the parking lot who just like really wants to be on camera and is like really extroverted and charming and like wants to be an actor. And so he starts to follow this kid. And this kid is like, "Come to my hometown. I'm part of a talent show." And so this this guy with a camera goes to this hometown and records a talent show where this boy dresses up as Olivia Newton-John and does a drag number. And he realizes that this entire talent show has been put on for him to lure him to this little town to film this. Oh my God. And it's awkward because it's the 70s. And of course, people are very homophobic and transphobic. And then the kid calls him and asks him not to air it anywhere or show it anywhere. So that's the first short. And then the second one is that a few years later, he decides to do a narrative short version of it. And he casts a then unknown Sean Penn, who plays the kid. And then Sean Penn is essentially doing Spicoli because that's the voice of the real teenager. It's like Spicoli, basically. And it's before Spicoli. So Sean Penn is clearly doing that as Spicoli. And then the third short is the same narrative film again, but with a bigger budget and a then unknown Crispin Glover.
Jesus
so you watch
Christ.
The same story 3 times with different actors, and you're sort of like watching the evolving nature of how the filmmaker feels about this incident and watching his talent grow as a filmmaker. It's just really fascinating. And yeah, so it just watching Fast Times made me remember the Beaver trilogy and was like, "Oh, I wonder if Drusilla has seen this because she would be really interested."
I haven't. I would love to see that. It's been recommended to me before, and it always really cool. Comes out of my head because the title is a little like I get it confused with Torch Song Trilogy occasionally.
Oh yeah, I can see why.
Understandably, but I really, really, really want to see it because that sounds like some experimental formula shit that is right up my alley.
I can send it. I have a link to it, but the only way you can get it now is to email the filmmaker and like Venmo him $20 or something, and he'll send you a DVD, which I did, and then the DVD didn't play in my Blu-ray player for some reason, so I had to find a link for it.
Well, Criterion, you did cool. Fast Times. Go pick up the Beaver Trilogy.
Yeah, someone should do it. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting.
Maybe Altered Innocence should do it.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. It has no queer. Well, it does have a queer element actually. Never mind.
Well, they're also about coming of age films, so.
It's cool. And when he gets to the small town, the only place this guy's getting his makeup done is Olivia Newton-John, and it's being done at a funeral parlor by the woman who does like corpses makeup. It's really funny.
God, I love it so much.
Yeah. Shall we get into the film of the day?
Yeah, speaking of things that we love so freaking much.
We both love this movie. Now, I think people are going to perhaps have umbrage at this selection because they'll say it's not an art house movie. But we say it is because we think this filmmaker is the John Waters of horror. They are one of horror's truest auteurs. And who's to say that art movies can't be campy and funny? I think they certainly can. So with all of that said, today's film is from 1990, directed by the one and only Frank Henenlotter. It is Frankenhooker.
In 1931, the world was horrified by the motion picture of Frankenstein. In 1935, horror turned to terror with The Bride of Frankenstein. In 1990, the makers of Basket Case and Brain Damage bring you...
Want a date?
plan.
I just want to bring back.
He has the ingenuity.
I need female bodyguards.
He has everything he needs, except the raw materials.
Just hold still. Excellent. Oh my God. Onion.
Looking for some action? Want a date? Got any money?
Oh my God.
I love this movie so much.
I mean, it is so endlessly quotable that the VHS tape would quote it.
Yeah. The VHS tape, by the way, I just remembered when I was looking this up, so when it came out, the VHS tape had a button on it that you pushed, and the VHS cover would go, "Want a date?" I love Frank.
None of those work
so
anymore.
No, totally not. But it's so clever.
What's your background with Frankenhooker? When did you see it? Good. Because almost every single person I've ever talked to kind of begrudgingly watches it at a certain point where they're like, I think I know what this movie's going to be. And then once they watch it, they're like, that is not what I expected, but I loved it.
Yeah. I saw it as a little kid on late night cable.
Really?
And then, yeah, probably like 92-ish. Because I was little. I was like 11 or 12.
Before my time.
Yes, before you were born. And then not again until like 2018, 2019, something like that. At which point I really fell in love with it. But I do remember the cover. I remember the poster being in video stores and it being sort of like lurid and lascivious. And, I'd seen Basket Case much more frequently. And then in my 20s, before I rewatched Frankenhooker, I fell in love with Brain Damage, which we almost did. We talked about doing, but we decided on Frankenhooker last minute. How about you?
It's very. When I was in college and I was starting to get into horror movies, like in earnest, and not just like, oh, hey, I guess it's a horror movie, I guess I'll watch it, but actively like searching out so much stuff and really, really getting into like exploitation and cult films. I was diving into like Forbidden Zone and Dr. Caligari and Liquid Sky and stuff like that. And Frankenhooker absolutely falls into that list.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it really late one night with my roommate. And it was just on YouTube or something like that. And I was like, oh, we should watch Frankenhooker. That's supposed to be really funny. It's going to be campy and stupid and like really dumb. And we can just kind of, we can get high and watch this. And within like 10 minutes of being into it, we were like, whoa, this is actually like great. This is not like
wonderful.
a campy, bad, dumb movie. This is like a very smart, very funny, very like well-made movie with amazing prosthetics that's like knows what it's doing and like is genuinely freaky and outrageously funny consistently.
Yeah.
And then I like immediately bought a Blu-ray of it. And I was back in Indiana over the summer between times in college. I came down from Chicago. And I was still staying with my family. And I invited a bunch of friends over at like 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's all go out and get lunch. Let's all come back to my place. And then we're going to watch Frankenhooker. You guys are going to love this movie. It's so much fun. Holy shit. So there's like 6 of us come back to my stepfather's house in just out of Indianapolis. Very like wooded area, wood-lined living room, very old school kind of place. And we're like 40 minutes into the movie, which is a very famous scene in which our main character is detailed measuring the body parts of sex workers, which is outrageously funny.
Yeah, that whole scene is something else.
It's something else, but there's a lot of TNA for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. And at that point, my stepfather came home, walked into the living room, got 2 looks at what was on the screen, and just very loudly went, "Hell no!" Walked up, turned the TV off, and was like, "Get the fuck out of the house." And we were like, okay,
Yikes.
Screw you then. I like quickly ejected the Blu-ray. We all like hopped into 2 cars and drove off. And then we like just pulled down the road a little bit, called each other, and we're like, we can go to her house. Who like our one rich friend was like, yeah, I have a home theater. And we're like, we should have gone there anyway. And we drove down to her house and just started the movie over because we were having so much fun anyway.
It's the best.
And yeah, every single time I've consistently shown it to someone, people have loved it. And almost every time someone will be like, really? That sounds kind of dumb. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And every single time it, like, 10 out of 10 hits perfectly. The last time that I watched it was at the Egyptian Theater. R.I.P. Please come back soon.
Oh, I didn't know that the Egyptian was gone.
I mean,
how did I not know that?
Netflix bought it and is quote unquote renovating it and just sitting empty.
Okay.
So I guess they'll come back hopefully soon.
Yeah.
But they were doing a triple feature of Basket Case, Brain Damage,
Oh my
and then
God.
Frankenhooker. And it started at like 7 or 8 o'clock. So
Yeah.
Frankenhooker didn't start until like midnight or 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And after you've done... Those movies get like increasingly more comedic as you go, but they're still
Yeah.
pretty like grindhouse and upsetting as you go too.
Mm-hmm.
And so after Basket Case, everyone was like, woof. Okay, Brain Damage is next, that's gonna be more fun. And after Brain Damage, it was like midnight or 1 a.m. and people were like, well, is it time to go home? Like, and then I had to convince so many people, like, stay. This
Yeah.
is the reason for the season. It's about to go off. And then the entire crowd was exhausted, really, really tired. Went into the concessions, got coffee and popcorn and soda, came back, and then again 5-10 minutes into Frankenhooker, everyone was on their feet, losing it. And was consistently up for the entire movie. It's insane.
I have a couple of things to say about this. One is that this is one of those movies that people will say, oh, that's so bad that it's good, but it's actually not.
It's
Similar
genuinely
to-
good. They know what
It's
they're
genuinely
doing.
good. It's very well made. Similarly to like Rocky Horror Picture Show, or I would argue Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one of these
Yes.
movies that is just so well crafted. It's completely in control of what it's doing. Everything is very considered and deliberate. It's just genuinely a good movie, although it is obviously very campy. And two, yeah, it's so insanely likable. I actually went on Letterboxd in preparation for this because I thought like, ooh, maybe I'll find some like pearl clutching bad reviews of this. And out of thousands of reviews, there weren't. I mean, there were literally people would give it like 2 stars sometimes and be like, this isn't really for me, but but very thoughtful and like not at all pearl clutchy. So it was like a flop experiment because everyone likes this. It wasn't super well received when it came out. It got some pretty notable bad reviews, but it feels like as it's aged, people have liked it more and more and more, which is interesting because it has the kind of sense of humor that people now who, we're more sensitive these days. And it feels like the kind of movie that people would turn on, but haven't seemed to for some reason, I guess, because it's so charming and kind of like, and it feels like a 12-year-old boy made it. You know what I mean? It's so innocent in its transgressiveness, I guess.
I mean, it's outrageously fun, and it's one that, like, I don't... Like, on the title alone, a lot of people are like, Frankenhooker, are you fucking kidding me? That I don't need to show them a trailer or, like, give them a synopsis. I can just put it on, and, they immediately see a brain in a fish tank with an eyeball, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
And it is like sort of sexist and objectifying, but again, it's just so innocent and so goofy that it's hard to like be mad at it.
Yeah, So I have a lot of friends that are writers, and again, all my friends and I do is sit around and talk about movies, and movies that how we want to write, and what we want to make, and what we critique, and things like that. And something we talk about all the time is writing a central character that expresses ideologies and ideas that we don't agree with, that are like quote unquote bad, and expressing them in a way that the character and the project is both enjoyable and lovable, while you also know that this person is wrong.
Right.
And like examples that are frequently thrown around are like Rick and Morty and stuff like that, where that's done piss poor, where you're like, these are not being done well, and I don't know if it's intentionally that these characters are making stupid decisions and it's supposed to be charming, or if the creator actually thinks that these are charming things to be doing. But Frankenhooker does a really, really great job of like your main character who is doing some pretty nefarious things with super crack, and objectifying women, and the kind of fate that befalls him in the end. Just like he's so funny and insane and quirky and weird and drilling into his cerebral cortex that you're gonna just want to hang out with him, but at the same time he is just oogling and ogling women's legs and shrieking when he finds bunions. That you find it charming and funny, and like you wouldn't want to hang out with him, but you love hanging out with him on screen. And it's like it rides the tightrope perfectly.
Yeah. It's a great place to put a quick synopsis of this. Of course, this is sort of a New Jersey take on Frankenstein. Our main character is Victor Franken, who works
Jeffrey
at the
Franken.
Thank you, Jeffrey Franken, who works at the power plant in New Jersey, but he's like an aspiring sort of I don't remember what they call it, bioelectricity scientist.
He tried to go to medical school multiple times, and they kicked him out.
Yeah, they kept kicking him out. So he's getting married to a wonderful girl named Elizabeth, who is a Patty Mullen, a Playmate Pet of the Year, Patty Mullen, in a fat suit in the opening.
But like barely a fat suit.
But barely.
It's like supposed to be a fat suit, and they keep making jokes about how like you need to stop eating. But she doesn't even look remotely.
She looks like a totally normal person.
She looks like any human being.
And lovely.
She's super lovely and attractive, like consistently throughout the movie. But even then, I'm like,
yeah,
why are you saying these out of hand comments? She's hot.
Someone tells her to stop eating pretzels at the barbecue. Anyway, there's a lawnmower accident which shreds her to pieces, and he, of course, is beside himself with grief, and so he decides to bring her back to life, but she's been shredded, and so he's going to make a perfect body for her, which leads him to New York City across the river and to sex workers who he can steal parts from and bring his love back to life. And that's the quickest synopsis. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
I mean, anything else is going to get a little too weird and wild and into it, because this movie does a great job of having a very simple, straightforward premise of like, it's Frankenhooker, but it's Frankenstein, but New Jersey. He's like, get body parts of sex workers so you can get the best of the best, and there's your lady brought back to life. But at every step of the way, to fill out the characters and to fill out the world, they add such wild, charming, weird bits. His mother is played by Louise Lasser.
Mary Hartman herself, Louise Lasser. Oh, I love her so much.
And she's so fucking good.
Yeah.
While he's prepping his scheme and plan to get ideas and to de-stress, he takes a drill and drills it into the back of his head to get ideas.
Yeah, it's like drugs, kind of.
Yeah,
he drills into his own head.
Yeah, it's wild, and even like all of the like the pimp character in Zorro is out fucking of this another world, and all of the Johns that our eventual Frankenhooker ends up picking up are all the most bizarre possible characters. Frank Henenlotter is such a really great way of filling out this world in a way that feels lived in and super charming and
He's
super
so good.
Authentic.
He really has a great sense of style. He's like a John Waters or a Rob Zombie or somebody like that who has like such a specific aesthetic, which he nails. And the writing, I was hoping, would you indulge me in a little dramatic reading? Because the writing in this is so pitch perfect. So, as I mentioned in the opening scene, Elizabeth is killed in this riding lawnmower accident. And then there's a newscaster, and this is what the newscaster says. And I just pulled it up because it's so funny. What began as a birthday barbecue ended in a bizarre tragedy in Hohokus, New Jersey today. It was this power mower that brought a quick end to the life of 20-year-old bride-to-be Elizabeth Shelley. Like wood through a mulcher, the girthful fiancée disappeared beneath the blades of the berserk mower that sent her personality raining down upon the birthday revelers. In a blaze of blood, bones, and body parts, the vivacious young girl was instantly reduced to a tossed human salad. A salad that police are still trying to gather up. A salad that was once named Elizabeth. So, that is good good writing.
It's genius.
That is so funny.
I love that bit so much. I think the Arrow Blu-ray has an interview with Patty Mullen that's titled "A Salad That Was Named Elizabeth."
She is so good in this movie. What a great comedic physical performance. It's like Laurel and Hardy level of like a great physical comedic performance. So amazing.
Even before she gets to do the insane physical stuff of being the Frankenhooker figure, all the stuff that she does at the beginning is so well acted, so funny, so charming, so lovely. And then at the end, so part of the narrative of this movie is that after he gets all of his sex worker parts together to build her a body, that's kind of only the midpoint of the movie, or almost the inciting incident. Once he gets her together, a freak electrical storm happens and doesn't really work quite properly, and all of the sentience of all of the different parts kind of congeal in her brain in a way that, like, she's not all there, and so she just keeps kind of zombifyingly-ish living out parts of their lives and, like, spouting out quotes that they had said previously in the movie in the funniest way possible. And so he's trying to track her down, bring her back so that he can, like, re-electrocute her so he can get her brain back online so she can be Elizabeth again. And once that she's fully Elizabeth again, at the end, she has a whole other turn where she kind of has this, like, sensual villainy to her that is so delectable and lovely. There's a shot with her finger that I just, like, I can't get over. And the, like, joy on her face, the, like, cunning and brilliance in her eyes is unmatched. And when you hear, like, oh, they cast a Playboy Playmate to be the lead actress in this movie, you're expecting that she was hired for something as lame as her measurements alone, and that she's gonna walk through this movie being some object.
Yeah.
But she's amazing. I mean, she reminds me a lot of, oh my god, Dorothy Stratton, and They All Laughed. Again,
I haven't seen that.
It's so freaking good, and it's so freaking charming. Playboy Playmate, who she did, like, Galaxina.
Well, small correction, because Patty Mullen was actually a Penthouse pet, which is like a budget.
Very
Playboy.
different.
But yeah, it's like a sea level.
Sorry.
Sort of thing. No, that's okay.
Do not let me confuse Penthouse and Playboy.
Don't try to elevate Patty Mullen's accomplishments. She's so funny in this, though. Perfect. I mean, what happens is, like, she comes to life and then knocks out Jeffrey and then goes across the river to Manhattan, of course, to Times Square. And basically, she's like a sexy Frankenstein shuffling around, and she goes up to men and says, "Want a date? Got any money? Looking for some action?" And whenever they say no or whatever, she just knocks them out and keeps walking. And there's a great scene where she goes to the Divey bar on Times Square and is eating pretzels really fast because, of course, in the opening scene, we've seen someone tell her not to eat so many pretzels, and they lower her voice artificially, so suddenly she's like, "Pretzels, good." And I was like, first of all, mood. Second of all, that's so relatable because pretzels are so fucking good. Whenever I watch this, I'm like, God, I wish I had a pretzel.
That sequence always reminds me so much of Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance in the much overly derided season 4 Buffy episode Beer Bad.
100%.
Beer good.
You know what I kept thinking of is, like, the terrible movie Jason Takes Manhattan. And I was like, if Jason Takes Manhattan were more like this, we might have had a movie on our hands. But
imagine what we could have gotten if we'd gotten a Jason Takes Manhattan Frankenhooker crossover. Jason versus Frankenhooker. You know who's going to win that fight. Jason Obviously Voorhees Elizabeth.
Unworthy of Elizabeth, aka Frankenhooker. If I have a qualm with this movie, is that there's not enough Frankenhooker. We spend the first half of the movie basically as a one-man show with Jeffrey, who's wonderfully performed by John Lorinz. Is that his name?
John Lorinz. Yeah, he's John Lorinz. Amazing.
He's great.
If you ever watched,
be overlooked.
If you ever watched, like, Reanimator or From Beyond, and you were like, what if Jeffrey Combs was more unhinged?
Yeah, I mean, his claim to fame, other than this, is that, and this is where Henenlotter saw him. He was watching dailies of the film Street Trash, which Lorinz is one of the stars of. So that kind of gives you an idea of his pedigree from street trash to Frankenhooker.
He's so
But
good.
he's a native New Yorker. He's got a thick Queen's accent, sort of like a classic Irish New Yorker. And he's wonderful. He's very funny. Oh, we have to talk about Super Crack.
We have to...
I don't know how we haven't touched upon Super Crack yet. So Super Crack, Jeffrey is an inventor or a scientist, and he needs a way of getting parts. And so he invents a new drug called Super Crack, which is lethal. But he feels, he feels guilty. He doesn't want to kill these women. So sort of like Little Shop of Horrors style, he decides like, oh, I won't kill them. I'll just make this available and they can choose to do it or not. And so he's paid $1 billion.
Much like the U.S. government.
Yes, much like the actual U.S. government in the 80s. And so he hires them all to have a big sex party where, as Drusilla alluded to, he's measuring their body parts. He sort of claims that this is his fetish. He's playing doctor. He's measuring their legs, all this sort of stuff. And then he actually doesn't give them the Super Crack. They're looking through his bag for money and find it themselves.
Tries to stop them.
He tries to stop them unsuccessfully because they're all addicted to crack, of course, because they're sex workers, is what this movie is signaling to you. And
the movie does kind of a good job of implying like their piece of shit pimp intentionally got them.
Yes, they all have tattoos with Z on their arm, which is their pimp's name is Zora. So anyway, these women start smoking Super Crack, and it makes them all explode. In one of the most outrageously filmed sequences of all time, you just you see very quick shots of them exploding. So before they explode, they're like mannequins or whatever, but it's fast, so you don't really get a good look at it.
But they don't explode. It's more like pieces of their body just jump off of themselves. A leg just careens through the room.
It's truly so funny. And I don't think crack is funny or addiction is funny, but it just, I don't know. And in someone else's hands, I think that this would have aged terribly, but it's just funny. It just is. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It's so good.
And then, so he obviously takes all of their body parts back to his garage in New Jersey.
At his mom's house in New Jersey.
Yeah, to build the perfect body for Elizabeth. But then, the first time I watched it, the question that was in the back of my mind was like, so what are you doing with the spare parts there, Jeffrey? What are you doing with the spare parts? And he leaves them all in like a deep freeze in the garage.
Right, like one of those meat refrigerators that people in small towns have in their garage, like we had.
Which, like, only exists so that some, like, fancy screenwriter can dump a body in there in the second act of the thriller.
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, when he finally gets Elizabeth back, and he's doing the procedure again so that she can, be Elizabeth again mentally, and have control over her new body, and as Zorro is chasing him down to get his girls back, everything kind of comes to a head, and the garage gets electrocuted again, and all of the spare parts of these women get kind of like congealed together in a flesh soup in the deep freeze, and then get knocked over, and they all start crawling out for Zorro. And it's literally just like, well, here's a foot and part of a head and an eyeball, and then over there is like a torso with an arm coming out of it, and there are all these beautifully fascinated creatures crawling out, and they're
classic Cronenberg, Henenlotter society body horror.
Oh, it's
just
so
is
society.
So great.
My tattoo artist Amanda, while she was giving me my Drac tat, was talking about how she is in the middle of concepting pin-up style tattoos of those creatures from Frankenhooker.
Oh, that's so
and
great.
She's like, I just know that there's not going to be an audience for this. And I was like, yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. But I think so if that's not a spoiler, we'll do a little
Big
spoiler for
alert.
The finale of the film. But I don't know. I don't think you can spoil this movie. I think it's just a lot of fun. But in the climactic conclusion, it's a little Young Frankenstein-esque in that he saves his beloved monster, but is himself injured in the process. And so to save his life, Elizabeth, who is now fully formed and back in her lovely, lovely Frankenhooker body, and that she has her wits about her, revives Jeffrey using his own book and methodology that he used to revive her. However, I mean, he only had spare female parts. So she rebuilds him on using his head out of nothing but the other leftover sex worker parts to rebuild her lover and the ideal body that she could think of. And so it has a very like shock, zoom in, zoom out to reveal, and then zoom in on his shocked, very terrified, upset face. Yeah. And I believe there's the line of, "My Johnson, where is my Johnson?"
And he's like sort of fondling his female breasts.
Yeah. And it is very clearly like a mannequin that the hand is placed there and is glued there, and then they're just trying to like move around like a chicken wing. It's very funny. But you know what? This is an ending that a lot of people have been like, is that transphobic? Is that upsetting? Is that bad? Every single trans woman that I've ever met who's seen Frankenhooker, which is almost every single one of them, because, hey, guess what? We love Frankenstein movies. I wonder why. Loves this ending and thinks it's really campy and cute and funny that Elizabeth, to like, both out of like revenge a little bit, but also like she's sick of Jeffrey and she wants a hot lady.
Yeah. I read it as sort of progressive, actually, because I read it as like she's getting revenge and saying like, here's a taste of your own medicine. Here's what it's like to be objectified and to be broken down into just parts and to just feel like parts. So I actually read it as like progressive. And I think actually the movie is progressive in a bunch of ways. It's actually weirdly pro sex work. Like there's a public access television show that plays at one point, and there's that wonderful actress from, Basket Case, who plays the woman who lives across the hall from him in the motel in Times Square. She's like an activist, and she runs an organization called Hooker, which stands for Hold On to Our Knowledge of Equal Rights. And she runs this like nonprofit that's about legalizing sex work, and we get to see an argument in favor of legalizing sex work in the movie. So I think it's actually weirdly progressive. I don't know if that's by accident or if I'm like searching for that because I want to like the movie so much.
I think it's genuinely in there. I think, you know, he's not the greatest human being socially, I'm sure, but like, listen, he really does make his movies with an earnesty and a love for his characters, and that is one of the greatest things you can say about a filmmaker. Yeah. And too few filmmakers have that. So many are either detached or have very little interest in the characters, or take sadomasochistic glee in torturing their already fucked up characters. And Henenlotter really has like reverence and affection, even for Zorro a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of great and super, super fun.
Yeah, even though this movie has like sex workers smoking super crack and blowing up, it doesn't feel mean. There's like a sense of joy that permeates this movie.
Yeah.
You just feel happy watching it. It's just a happy movie.
And like, yeah, they blow up from super crack and their bodies are, you know, swapped around for parts a little bit, but they're still sentient and conscious, and they still get their revenge on the man who abused and trapped them. So, I don't know.
So you do get your Hays Code ending where the villain is punished. This is a Hays Code movie.
I guess. I'm sure the Hays Code would look at everything about Frankenhooker and be like, yep, Joseph Breen's favorite movie, Frankenhooker.
Oh, speaking of that, this movie had distribution problems because of the MPAA, one of the most evil organizations ever. And I guess there was a call with one of the producers where someone from the MPAA is like, congratulations, you get they had to get an R rating instead of an X rating, but this person on the phone was like, congratulations, you get the world's first S rating. And the woman was like, what is that? S for sex? And the person from the MPAA said S for shit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about, really quickly too, like just factual things about the production and release of this movie. I love that this movie was only greenlit and made as like a backdoor property while he agreed to make Basket Case 2 and 3.
Oh, right.
It was like pitched in the meeting. He didn't have an idea.
Yeah, he made it up on the spot.
He was like, I don't know, Frankenhooker. And they're like, perfect, we love it. And he was like, guess I have to write that now. And for a concept as like threadbare as that, for it to be, in my opinion, his best movie, and a movie this amazing and joyous and fun and brilliant, I think is amazing. But additionally, as you mentioned, this movie had some pretty negative reviews and a hard time getting distribution. However, it had one really, really great pull quote that was on all the posters and the VHS boxes, which was, if you see one movie this year, see Frankenhooker. And it was from Bill Murray.
It's so funny and weird.
Which sounds weird and like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But it's because while they were either editing or mixing Frankenhooker, Bill Murray was using the same sound stages and editing bays
for Quick Change.
Yeah, to make Quick Change, the movie he directed, which is lovely, very, very good. And he just like, inadvertently got peeks at Frankenhooker while it was being finalized and loved it and had a lot of fun. And when Frank Henenlotter like told Shapiro Glickenhaus, the producers and distributors of the movie, that just like offhandedly like, hey, look, Bill likes our movie. That's a good sign. They were like, oh my God, you need to pressure him to get a quote. If you can get a quote from him, we'll put it on the poster. It has to be used. That's gonna be, oh my God, that's gonna save the movie. And he had to very sheepishly go to Bill Murray and like ask him for this, despite the fact that he was like, I don't want to bug him. Like, it feels like a dick move. But the selling point for that movie still, whenever anyone's like, Frankenhooker, that sounds really dumb, then he can be like, actually, Bill Murray said it was the best movie of 1990.
I think he's right, frankly.
I think he's right.
What would you pair with this movie? I mentioned it earlier, but my pairing for this would be Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because I think it has a similar feeling. That's just like a super fun, very well made, purposely campy horror film. But what do you think?
That's very true. My two choices are very different. I think the one that I would like thematically, I think it would play very well as the B picture to Hammer's Frankenstein Created Woman.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
One of my favorite movies.
Okay.
And I think Martin Scorsese said it was his favorite Hammer film. It kind of does what it says on the tin of like, Peter Cushing is Dr. Frankenstein. He makes a lady monster this time, but like he puts the consciousness of her boyfriend into her body so that they're both in her brain at the same time. And
queer.
She's like and she's getting revenge on the people who like made fun of him. And it's very, very interesting. And it's also very like theological, because it's all about Dr. Frankenstein trying to like access death and trying to access like the beyond. It's very interesting. But the one that I feel like stylistically and tonally, and is an actual double feature I have done with this movie. Also produced and distributed by Shapiro Glickenhaus, and is also like a true like cult VHS banger. From the opposite shore of the U.S. Is Steven Sayadian's Dr. Caligari from 1989.
Oh, I love that.
Which is one of my favorite movies ever made. Which, again, if you want to talk about late 80s insane Tim Burton aesthetics meshed with Cronenbergian body horror and like nearly softcore pornography in a super funny and surreal movie. That's the best. So if you do Frankenhooker and then go straight into Dr. Caligari, both of which have and also like it's got the fun vibe of like, oh, we're refreshing Frankenstein and we're refreshing Dr. Caligari for the kinked up, sexed up, queered up late 80s, early 90s. They're so fun. They're some of the best midnight movies you could possibly put on, and they're both really trans and really queer.
You mentioned this movie at the top of the episode, but it might make a good pairing. This movie has aged way more poorly than the others that we've mentioned, but I think Forbidden Zone would be a cool double feature with this.
Yeah. So
I love Forbidden Zone.
I do too. I love
it is pretty racist.
Yeah.
And pretty anti-Semitic. But if you're willing to overlook that for the great Oingo Boingo songs and the cool aesthetic and the Susan Torrell performance that's insane and wonderful, then that's a good
I haven't seen
too.
Forbidden Zone since I moved to Los Angeles. It was one of the first things that I did when I got here, was that the Cine Family was showing it. And Richard was there and like had a whole cabaret number beforehand with his band and his wife. And then he was like cooking barbecue out back for everyone after. And I showed up dressed as Danny Elfman as the devil in a white coat with tails and stuff.
Chic.
And so many of my closest friends in LA I met at that screening. And so I have such great reverence for that time and for that movie.
I love that movie, but you do have to be willing to kind of overlook some things.
And I've forgotten those things with time because they've been washed out by those other things. And I've recommended it to friends who then get very mad at me afterwards. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. Oh, I fucking forgot. I should have mentioned that. Oh God, I really, really forgot about that. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Oops.
Well, anyway, we think that Frank Henenlotter is one of horror's true auteurs. We think that this is an absolute art film. And if you disagree, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's our show and not yours, as Trixie and Katya say. I guess it's time to pivot to our favorite game, Have They Seen It?, where we just speculate wildly about whether notable figures have seen this movie. This is 1990. I'm going to go with a classic. Do you think Tipper Gore saw this or felt any kind of way about this?
I could probably say for certain.
Maybe she was made aware of it in some way.
Oh, she's never seen it. But I firmly believe that someone either told her about this or she saw it at her local family video while picking up a Disney flick.
Like Ghost Dad or something.
Yeah.
Unproblematic Bill Cosby.
Her loving Ghost Dad is... Yeah, Tipper Gore went to go get Ghost Dad for the whole family. And she saw either a poster or like a cardboard cutout promoting the
VHS that goes, want a date?
Yeah, she heard it from the other side of the store and all these teenagers giggling around it, walked over and saw it and was just immediately offended at the title and the cover alone. And that's her entire history with this movie. And she's wrong. Yeah. Well, we know Bill Murray's seen it.
Yeah.
Well, again, considering 1990, considering the kind of cult queer status of this movie and, you know, the kind of New York of it all, do you think Madonna ever saw Frankenhooker?
I could go either way. Yeah, I think she might have. I mean, yeah, I think she might have. 1990 was an interesting time for Madonna because it's like right before, it's in a little bit of a lull. Because you're post 80s Madonna, but you're before Vogue and that sort of stuff, which like really sends her off into a new direction. I could believe in that quiet time before Blonde Ambition that she saw Frankenhooker. I think she'd appreciate it too. She had a good sense of humor. Not many people know this because I'm such a rock and roll queen, but I was obsessed with Madonna as a child, well into like probably the mid 90s. But 80s Madonna for me is like as good as pop music has ever been and ever will be. So I have some residual affection for her from my childhood.
And she's a huge cinephile.
Yeah, she's a smart person.
Yeah.
However you feel about her, she's very sophisticated and smart, has a great sense of humor, very well developed sense of irony. I think she would enjoy Frankenhooker.
I think she'd have a lot of fun. Who are you thinking of?
So this is somebody who we've talked about on an early episode. I don't know why this person popped into my head, just like a funny person to watch Frankenhooker, I guess. Do you think that Charlton Heston ever saw Frankenhooker?
Oh my god.
I feel like there's a world where he would like see it privately and like totally fap to it, but like not ever tell anyone.
Okay, so first of all, the concept and the image of that happening, horrifying.
What?
Second of all, I have not heard the word fap since 2011.
I don't think I've said it since 2011, but I just saw him like fapping surrounded by guns in a dark basement watching Frankenhooker.
I like to imagine that there was a time in which he was at a video store, he saw it, and was aroused and offended. Like, he was mad that he was aroused by the concept of the movie, but he kept coming back, and he kept singing, and he kept singing, and he kept singing, and then he finally, like, shamefully ordered it by mail through a catalog.
Came in a brown paper bag.
Yup. So that no one would know. He had it sent to a P.O. box.
He wore a trench coat and like, sunglasses
fake mustache.
to go pick it up.
Yeah. And then kept it with all of his nudie films, and every now and then would take it out and watch it and shamefully get off to it.
Yeah.
I think, I think that's the more interesting answer. I think that's what he would be doing. Considering the horror pedigree of this title, and obviously we'd lost Boris Karloff by 1990. We'd lost Peter Cushing. But a few horror icons were from the kind of classic age were still around. And many of them famously have a wonderful sense of humor. I've got a twofer for you. Do you think that either Christopher Lee or Vincent Price ever got around to Frankenhooker? And what do you think they thought of it?
My gut, and I don't know why, my gut is Vincent Price, yes. Christopher Lee, no.
I agree. Yep.
I have no idea why, but whenever I think of Vincent Price in his private life, I think I'm actually thinking of like a Muppet segment or something. I imagine him in a dark mansion in a smoking jacket with a little mustache just wandering around in like a gothic LA Spanish style mansion. And I feel like in that setting, absolutely, I can see him watching Frankenhooker. Christopher Lee, I don't know why. I feel like he's too serious for Frankenhooker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I feel like Christopher Lee would be turned off by the concept of bringing humor into Frankenstein. I feel like he'd be like, Shelley never intended you to defile her modern Orpheus this way.
Yeah. I adore Christopher Lee, but he does seem like somebody who would like mansplain things to you. Maybe. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now I just want to hear Frankenhooker quotes in a Vincent Price impression.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hear Vincent Price say, "Want a date?"
I saw when I was looking for bad Letterboxd reviews, one of the funny ones that I saw, this was a positive review, but they were like, you know, that prompt on Twitter where people are like, replace all the actors in the movie with Muppets except one. This movie would be exactly the same. And I was like, that's such high praise for Frankenhooker.
Oh my god, the concept of a Muppet Show episode where the special guest is Elizabeth Frankenhooker. Elizabeth
amazing.
Franken. Oh my god. That would be the single best episode.
Even in a photograph, to see Miss Piggy dressed up as Frankenhooker would be iconic.
Well, that's
literally iconic.
A good Halloween costume idea.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a very special episode next week.
Really?
It's our 25th. Yeah.
How special is it going to be, Josh?
It's so special. We're going to do 2 movies.
Oh my god.
A double feature, our first double feature. And what is it, Drusilla?
Well, okay. If it's going to be a really special episode, we should do a really, really, really special movie. Like, a really, like, high watermark of what art house horror means. So, I don't know. Maybe we do something like Suspiria?
Okay. I'm listening.
But then a second movie. Oh, God. I'm trying to think of, like, what's even another movie that's like, what about Suspiria? What if we do Suspiria and Suspiria?
I love that. So Suspiria 1977 and Suspiria 2018.
Oh, I meant let's just watch Suspiria twice. But okay, yeah, we can watch Suspiria twice and then we can watch the Luca Guadagnino one.
We'll watch both of them twice.
I'll just watch the first one twice, and then that will be the length of this other one, and then I'll watch the other one.
Okay. Great. Well, if you liked this episode, please rate it on all the things. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials. Drusilla, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at HideSister. And you can find me in all of my art over at sisterhidedesign.com. And I'm also on Letterboxd. It's just Drusilla Adeline. What about you, Josh?
At Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for our very special double feature. Yay!